Hi, I'm Joe, a sensitivity educator. Today, I'd like to share a few perspectives for HSPs on how to stop being so hard on yourself. Self-blame does so much more harm than good, so I'll share some insights that can help you realize, I don't need to be so hard on myself after all. So let's get into it now. Number one is you've already reflected enough. What this means is whenever you make a mistake, others are usually going to point it out, so there's no need to beat yourself up any further. Usually when you make a mistake at work, your boss or coworkers will call you out on it. Even in your personal life, when you try to make choices that feel right to you, family might oppose you or friends might drop unnecessary comments. Psychologically, the moment humans receive feedback or criticism from others, we experience a strong reaction called social evaluative threat. And because HSPs are highly sensitive, they're affected by this on a much deeper level. So the instant somebody says something to an HSP, their brain registers the situation in detail and starts the process of deep reflection. Without you even realizing it, a little while after getting that feedback, the task of reflection in your brain is pretty much complete. Despite that, continuing to beat yourself up is like launching a second attack on a process that's already complete. When you do that, your brain takes 100 points of damage from the other person, and then you inflict another 100 points onto yourself, making it 200, double the damage. That's why it feels so unbearable. Of course, it's different if you're completely on your own and you want to reflect about things. But in work or overall life, other people are almost always involved, and their feedback will reach you anyway. So whether it's a big mistake at work or a major decision in your private life, you don't need to join in and beat yourself up. So I hope you can keep in mind this idea of, okay, other people have pointed things out. My brain has already reflected enough, so I don't need to attack myself any further. Number two, this is simple yet crucial. It's completely normal to have things you can't do. So when we fail at something, we tend to think, why couldn't I even do a simple thing like this? But the truth is, there are actually plenty of cases where we struggle with really small things. For instance, while I have some knowledge when it comes to content creation, or speaking like I am right now, or psychology, I'm actually not very good at handling daily chores. Where I struggle quite a bit is grocery shopping. I always make a proper shopping list, but I end up forgetting something pretty often. Even though it's right there on the list, I repeat this mistake a lot, especially when I'm in a rush or overthinking. And I used to beat myself up over stuff like this, but I began to think, well, nobody is perfect. And I've learned to be okay with letting small things like that go. We all try to improve in our own ways, but there are just some little quirks that stay with us no matter what. But let's say a close friend forgot to buy one item from the grocery store. Would you get really disappointed with them? Probably not. Most likely you'd just reassure them saying, no worries, it happens to everyone. So I hope you can offer that same kindness to yourself. In psychology, this is called self-compassion, as you might have heard. Treating yourself with the same warmth and understanding you'd give a good friend. This isn't just superficial comfort, it's actually a scientific method to soothe your nervous system. The truth is, everyone has strengths and weaknesses, so you don't have to carry everything alone. It's okay to rely on people around you, whether that's asking for advice, perhaps letting them teach you something, or just accepting their support. So I encourage HSPs to try letting go of the thoughts like, I must do everything perfectly, or if others can do it, I should too. Remember that having things you can and cannot do is just part of being human. So I hope you can have this understanding and turn it into a sense of relief. Number three is, it's okay to fail as many times as it takes. This mindset of knowing it's okay to fail is so important. As long as you are healthy, mentally and physically, you can always try again with most things. This is easy to see when it comes to work. Suppose things didn't go well and you leave a job. You'll naturally start to worry that the next job wouldn't work out either. But even if you change jobs 3, 4, or 5 times, the possibility of finding a place that fits you still remains. So failing at a job interview many times or having a high number of job changes might make you feel rushed. But if you look at it calmly, there are actually still plenty of places left for you to give a try. Besides, working for a company isn't the only option. There's also the perspective of creating a small business or a work of your own. Of course, it's not easy, but it means there are various paths you can take. So I want you to know that it's okay to fail as many times as it takes. Failing doesn't reduce your worth as a person, and it certainly wouldn't ruin your life for good or anything like that. The same applies for things like romance. When you experience a heartbreak, it can feel as if you've been rejected by the entire world. But objectively speaking, what you lost is just a fraction of human relationships. There's still plenty of space for you to try again and meet somebody that fits you. When we act and things don't go well, we feel like we've just really failed. But it simply means we've gathered valuable data showing that one specific condition didn't suit us. So in other words, the more failures you collect, the closer you are undoubtedly getting closer to the option that actually suits you. Therefore, what's important is knowing that you can try again, no matter how many times you fail. Taking care of your mind and body is key, so you can protect that energy to keep trying. So I hope you'll keep this thought in mind as well. Number 4 is a slightly unique perspective. Instead of trying to avoid failure, let's adopt the stance of collecting failure as a data. The reason I say this is because every single person in this life goes through failure, and the number of failure isn't just 10, 20, or 30. Even hundreds of times would still be on the lower side. That's just how much failure happens. And what's important is that every time your collection of failure grows, your brain is undoubtedly updating, learning, and growing. For example, if things go wrong in a relationship, you might develop a fear towards people, but at the same time, you learn things like kindness, which allows you to imagine, how would the other person feel if I say this? Even if you make a small mistake at work, becoming more careful because of it could actually prevent a bigger mistake down the road. So there's in fact so much you can learn from failure. And the scariest thing isn't actually failing itself, it's becoming so afraid of it that you stop trying altogether. And when you stop trying, it might look like staying the same on the surface, but since the world keeps evolving, it actually turns into a slow decline. Of course, if you're taking a break for your health, that's completely different. In that case, you're actively restoring yourself, so that's a valid step forward. I mentioned earlier that you can keep trying no matter how many times you fail. And if you hold on to that mindset, you can naturally keep growing. To do that, it's essential to validate the concept of failure. So having a mindset like, okay, I'm going to collect 100 failures from now becomes effective. When you do this, setbacks become much easier to accept, and the need to blame yourself fades. Your perspective shifts to, I messed up again, but my collection grew by 1. I'm a step closer. So what I want to tell HSPs is that you don't have to carry every mistake so heavily. Just know that each of those experiences is in fact steadily building your personal growth. Number 5 is relationships can naturally hurt sometimes. This is also a common concern I receive from HSPs. For example, accidentally hurting somebody with a quick remark, or feeling a sense of guilt over something you said or did, leaving you with that heavy, uneasy feeling inside. Human relationships are naturally complex. No matter how close you are to somebody, even if it's your spouse, you can never fully understand every single thing about them. If they open up and share things with you, you can get a better sense of where they're at, but you still can't know their true inner feeling in any given moment. So ultimately, there's no way to know for sure what might hurt somebody. For example, something you said to a classmate back in school might not have bothered them back then, but saying the same exact thing once you're both working might hurt them just because their situation changed. So you just can't predict all of these things. And on the flip side, a casual remark from a close friend might hit you hard and your feelings might get hurt as well. It's a delicate reality, but that's just kind of the risk that is naturally part of relationships. So since we inevitably hurt each other at times, if you happen to feel sorry afterward, the important thing is to express that feeling. If the other person accepts your feeling and your relationship deepens, it has the potential for a lasting connection. So what I hope you can aim for is a relationship where you can move forward together even while occasionally getting hurt along the way. Holding this mindset makes it easier to release that feeling of guilt of, I did something bad. So you can actually shift your energy and focus to how to approach things moving forward. Rather than dwelling on regret, you can stay focused on the present, and that really creates a better state of mind for HSPs. And finally, number 6 is a foundational mindset I want to encourage HSPs, accepting the fact, this is who I am. So in other words, self-acceptance. Once you can do this, you naturally stop blaming yourself. You can shift your thinking to, okay, I messed up, but this is who I am right now. So it was simply beyond my control, and I did the best I could with what I had. In reality, every single person is always trying their best in any given moment. For example, let's say you have to speak up in a meeting, but what you said didn't land well, and people kind of laughed at you. In that instant, you just freeze up, paralyzed by the feeling that everybody is judging you. Yet, even while feeling that panic, the fact that you still spoke up and played your part is something to be proud of in itself. That's what it means to accept your current self and know that you're doing your best. Of course, it would be ideal if you could show up as the perfect version of yourself everywhere, but there are just times when you simply can't perform at your best. So instead of blaming yourself each time, it's important to recognize your effort and tell yourself, hey, you did the best you could, and I'm proud of you. And not being able to do something right now is just where you are at today. Even if your current self can't do it yet, your future self still has every chance to change. Thinking this way takes away the need to blame your current self, so I hope you can adopt this concept of accepting who you are now, knowing that my current self is enough and I'm doing well enough as I am right now. So today I shared a few perspectives for HSPs on how to stop being so hard on yourself. Here at SensiPath, I share detailed information and often overlooked perspectives tailored for HSPs, blending psychology, science, and my own real-life experience as a highly sensitive person. If you found this helpful, I'd be glad if you stay connected and give this video a thumbs up. That's all for today. This was Joe from SensiPath.